You don't remember exactly when it started, do you? There wasn't some dramatic moment, some clear before and after. No breakdown, no explosion. Just erosion, like smoke leaking under the door of your life. First, a heaviness in your chest that you couldn't name. Then, the silence between your thoughts got louder. And now, it feels like you're disappearing, but somehow still showing up for work, answering texts, scrolling, smiling in photos. People ask if you're okay. You say you're just tired. You call it burnout, maybe even depression, but something about those words feels incomplete, like they're describing the symptoms, not the cause. If you enjoy this type of video, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. What if this isn't depression? What if this is your soul saying, this life no longer fits? Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant and misunderstood minds in psychology, went through the same thing. Not once, but for 6 relentless years. He lost interest in his work, started seeing visions, hearing voices, writing down symbols that didn't make sense to anyone else. He didn't call it a crisis. He called it a descent into the self. And that descent became his most sacred, terrifying, and revolutionary work, the Red Book, something so personal he kept it hidden until after his death. Because he knew the world wouldn't understand, just like they don't understand you right now. They think you're weak, lazy, lost. But maybe you're not falling apart. Maybe you're being called inward. Maybe what's happening to you isn't a breakdown, but a breakthrough disguised as one. Keep ignoring it, and you'll keep nodding through life while dying inside. But if you listen, really listen, you might realize this isn't the end of you. It's the beginning. You've been trying to keep up, checking emails, smiling at the right times, saying, I'm fine, on autopilot. But inside, you feel gone, not dead, just emptied out. Like your spirit left the room hours ago and no one noticed. It's not sadness, it's silence, and it's loud. This is where most people panic. They look for something to fix, to numb, to escape into. They open a new tab, call a friend, swipe, scroll, eat, shop, smoke, anything to stay above the surface. But what if you're not meant to stay above? What if that sinking feeling isn't failure, but invitation? Carl Jung didn't escape his darkness. He descended into it. 6 years of isolation, visions, conversations with archetypes, gods, shadows. And he wrote it all down in the Red Book, a map, not of the outer world, but of the soul. In those pages, Jung didn't find answers. He found symbols, messages that made no sense to the logical mind, but whispered truth to the deeper self. Because when you're pulled into this kind of internal collapse, it's not to destroy you, it's to strip you. Strip you of roles, labels, performance. Strip you of everything false so the real can finally rise. This is the underworld. It's not a metaphor. It's a space inside you, dark, silent, cold, and the only way out is through. But here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to get better and start being radically honest with your pain, the moment you stop performing and just sit with your chaos, you begin to hear something, not from outside, but from within. A voice that says, I've been waiting for you. Let's kill the fantasy right now. Awakening doesn't look like bliss. It looks like insomnia, like staring at the ceiling wondering who the hell you've become. It looks like deleting messages you never should have sent, like losing interest in the things you built your identity on, your job, your goals, your hustle, your image. You don't feel spiritual, you feel crazy. Some mornings you wake up with peace, others with rage. Sometimes you cry for no reason. Sometimes you feel absolutely nothing. You're calm, then overwhelmed, then blank, then electric, and it keeps cycling. And you keep thinking, something's wrong with me. But what if nothing's wrong? Carl Jung called this the confrontation with the unconscious, when the parts of you that have been buried for years or decades start crawling up from the shadows. Old wounds, old rage, old shame. Fantasies you never dared admit. They're not showing up to torment you. They're surfacing because they've ruled you from the dark for too long. And now, finally, you're strong enough to face them. This is not a glitch in the system. It is the system breaking, so something more honest can be born. But here's the hard truth. The old you will not go quietly. That version of you, the achiever, the people pleaser, the perfectionist, will beg to be kept alive. They'll call this collapse failure. They'll say, come back to who you were. But you can't, because who you were wasn't real. So the storm continues, and the world keeps telling you, just snap out of it. But your soul is whispering, stay with it. Let it burn, because the fire isn't here to destroy you. It's here to purify what you were never meant to carry. That ache in your chest, that numbness behind your eyes, it's not the end, it's the threshold. But most people never cross it. They treat pain like an error, something to medicate, escape, drown in dopamine and distractions. Because in this world, silence is terrifying, stillness is suspicious, and discomfort, that's weakness, right? Wrong. Discomfort is the doorway, the test, the initiation. Jung knew this. He didn't numb his descent. He entered it like a temple, one filled with monsters, gods, and shattered pieces of himself. He didn't look for light. He looked for truth. And truth doesn't come wrapped in clarity. It comes wrapped in confusion, tears, isolation, loss. But inside that loss, something ancient awakens. See, the life you've built, the goals, the relationships, the routines, may have never been yours to begin with. They were survival structures, roles you played to stay safe, loved, accepted. But now, the mask is slipping, and your soul is refusing to perform. You feel distant from old friends. Conversations feel hollow. You stop texting first. You stop laughing just to keep the peace. And people start saying, you've changed. Damn right you have, because you've stopped pretending. This phase, it's brutal. You're grieving identities that once protected you, the strong one, the achiever, the fixer. But those were masks, not faces. And now that you're peeling them off, don't be surprised if you feel empty. That emptiness isn't failure. It's sacred space. The space where the real you finally has room to breathe. So when the world tells you to cheer up, get over it, go back, look them in the eye and say, I don't live there anymore. Then one day, after the storm, the silence, the shedding, something strange happens. You feel present, not joyful, not healed, just here, grounded. For the first time in months, maybe years, you're not floating in distraction. You're not reacting. You're observing. And inside that space, a new voice begins to speak. It's not loud. It doesn't beg. But it's clear, steady. It says things you've needed to hear your whole life. You don't have to perform anymore. You don't have to fix everyone. You're allowed to just exist. This is the voice of your real self, the one that's been buried under years of roles, expectations, and survival patterns. It doesn't crave applause. It doesn't fear rejection. It's not interested in being liked. It's interested in being true. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. You start saying no without guilt. You start walking away from rooms that drain you. You stop over-explaining, stop defending, stop begging. Because something in you knows, if you have to abandon yourself to belong, it's not belonging. This is the beginning of self-respect, not the social media version, the real silent kind that no one claps for, the kind that lets you sit alone in a quiet room and still feel whole. You don't feel happy all the time, but you feel real, and that's a kind of joy no smile can fake. So when people say you've changed, they're right. You stopped living for the echo and started listening to the origin. That voice inside you? It's not new. It's been waiting for years. You just finally got quiet enough to hear it. Now you stand at the edge. You can feel it. The split. The part of you that wants to go back. To be understood. To be liked. To feel normal again. And the other part, the quieter, stronger one, that knows going back would mean going numb. This is the turning point. Carl Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Because becoming real isn't just a glow-up. It's a funeral, a burial of the masks, the performances, the smallness you called safety. But what rises from those ashes isn't a polished version of you. It's an honest one. And now it's time to decide how you'll live. Not through willpower, not through pretending you're better, but through ritual. Through the quiet discipline of honoring your own soul. Jung didn't just survive the descent, he mapped it. He created space for his visions, his madness, his silence. He didn't run from the dark. He wrote with it, walked with it. And in that process, he built a new kind of sanity, one that included the shadows. You can do the same. Start with a single choice. Let the silence speak before the world interrupts. Write what's real before you perform what's expected. Choose solitude over performance, truth over comfort, and wholeness over acceptance. The world will call you distant, changed, cold. They're right. Because once you hear your own voice, your true voice, you'll never again betray it to be understood. You're not broken. You're just done pretending. You're not lost. You're just finally walking your own path, and you're not depressed. You're remembering who the hell you are. So no, this isn't your end. This is your ritual. This is your return. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button.